Wait, maybe now? Books check now? You're live. Okay, I think we're good. All right, yo, chat. Hello, YouTube chat. I think we're live now. Is he Viet? I don't know. Why would I know? Hello? I think it works now. Yeah, it works now. All right, bet. Betterington. Is it male or female? I'm not even sure. I'm finding out for the first time too, chat. All right. Kiki Mation's the only one I know, but she's not an animator, chat. She's an autiste. I mean, broad term artist, but 2D artist. You know what I mean? You know, are you Viet? Yeah, of course I am, brother. Wait, yep, I got a notification. You're live. All right, cool. It's up. It's up and going. Cool. Bet. All right. Is that a female? I'm not sure. I can't say yet, chat. All right. So the plan, chat, today, like I said, pretty simple. We're gonna be interviewing. We're gonna be sitting down with a R34 animator, discussing the ins and outs of the industry, their thought process, how they came to be. You know what I mean? Their workflow, whatnot. Anything you guys want to ask, any pressing matters. All right. And then we're gonna segue into some Yanime. All right, the weekly Yanimes. All right. And then we're gonna finish out P3 Reloaded. All right. Finally, that's the shit. Hopefully today will be the last day of P3 Reloaded. BL R34. Okay, so we definitely have to siphon out some of these questions for sure. All right. Okay. Pretty simple day. I think he might be ready to go, but I'm gonna obviously intro it. Panda, thank you for, oh my God, a 20 get the subs, Panda. Oh my God, brother. Thank you for the 20 get the Panda. Oh my God. All right. We're still good for Sunday, right? The private thug shake session. All right, bro. All right. Dun. But yeah, chat. I don't know. I'm excited to see how it goes, but who knows? Because this is my first time talking to the person too, like beyond DMs and whatnot. So you know, I just hit him up cold call. And he's like down for it. Does the R34 animator do commissions? They probably do. Yeah. I mean, look, this space, you don't get a lot of notoriety or popularity from it. So like, chat, do you guys even know any R34 animators? Not artists, okay? Artists, like there's plenty of artists out there you guys probably know, you guys follow on Twitter and whatnot. But animators, specifically talking. I'm not an animator, bro. What? I'm just a coomer. What? What do you gotta talk about? I'm gatekeeping. You acting like I don't know all of them. Like, what are you gatekeeping from? You know? Come on now. Specifically animators, yeah. Jack Black. Okay, all right. I don't really care, really. I mean, yeah, you just find a good video, you just slap the salami, then you go about your day. You know what I mean? I'm uncultured on R34 animators. Well, we might culture you now, all right? By the way, the thumbnail for the YouTube stream. Wait, is it cooked or what? Is it bad? Wait, hold up. You got me scared, bro. It should be the custom one, no? What's that not safe work animator's name? We'll reveal it in due time. YouTube chat, in due time. Yeah, let me see. Hold up. Y'all got me tripping, bro. Oh, no, it's good, chat. It's good. Send the links to one of their videos. Well, I'm pretty sure that's against terms of service, okay? I can't be sending out crazy R34 stuff to you guys, okay? All right. That's crazy. I just can't be doing that. How long left do we have on P3R? Maybe like a little light 12 hours, a little light 8 hours. I don't know. Are you black? All right, bro. Wait, I'm questioning my sexuality after looking at Hades with a tank top. All right, bro. Come on. Crazy Hades yapping coming. Bro, I've been yapping. When we'll be reviewing the animation, here's the thing, okay? I mean, I would love to pull up the animation. He sent me the safe for work version, right? And I'm gonna be honest, chat. It's still very not safe for work. I'm feeling. So look, if after stream, please not midstream, okay? Because I literally had someone midstream slapping a salami, tab back to me, and then finish while they saw me, okay? So like, I want to prevent that from ever happening. All right? So, you know, I'll introduce them. You guys will know their name, all right? And you can find them basically on any sites you desire. They're basically on everywhere, you know, every website, okay? So, like I said, you don't have to call them out. But they'll be revealed, and then afterwards, you know, we sit down after the stream. That stream shouldn't be too long, all right? It should be like an hour-long discussion, maybe a little less than that. And yeah, you can do your research, if you will, all right? Is JFK an animator? What? I'm done, bro. I'm done, bro. This chat's cooked. All right. I'm gonna hit him up, ask him if he's good, and we're gonna intro this Johnny. All right? Okay. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, once he DM me, chat, or they DM me, we're gonna get started. All right. Wait, I got spoiled on a major P5 spoiler. I am so mad. Oh nah. DM it to me later, bro. Wait, Hades making a beating room and cord. Like you want me to make a gooning lounge? Is that what he's saying? We need a vibing lounge, a gaming lounge, and then now a gooning lounge? I'm done with y'all, chat. I'm done with this chat, man. Hell no. The anime should animate you. Here's the crazy thing. Okay. I mean, it's not gonna spoil it. I think if I grow out my hair a little bit more, I literally think like I'll be exactly like the model they use in their animation. Like maybe not as skinny or tone, but I'm getting there, chat. I'm getting there. I might become an R34 protagonist in a series, bro. If I grow out my hair a little bit longer. Hey, he's gonna blanket ready. Wow. I think they modeled the character of you. Wait, Emil, did you already find out? Wait, did you already find out who it is? No shot. Wait, hold up. Concern sent me a message. Oh, nah. Yeah, you might have to do something with that friend, bro. He spoiled you on P5. That's crazy. That's that's one of the big crazy twist. Wait, is it cooked? Wait, how do you know what it is? Sly, thank you for the fourth. Oh, hell no. Dude. Oh, no, it's about to.
L underscore.
All
L
right,
underscore. L underscore.
All right, bro.
L underscore.
Wait, Hades, you're gonna make millions if you become a anime model.
L underscore.
I wish so, bro.
L underscore.
You gotta run the hands with him. You gotta, bro.
L underscore. L underscore. L underscore.
If you guys want to know what the P5 spoiler is without actually spoiling, it has to involve with the Velvet Room.
L underscore.
All right, I'm skipping an alert, bro. God damn it, bro. God damn it, bro. All right, wait, take them out back if you catch the drift. All right, Chad, they still haven't sent me yet. Haven't sent me a DM yet. I'm gonna keep yapping. All right, I'm gonna keep yapping. All right, Sly. Wait, Sly's here, right? Sly's culture. Sly. R34 animators that you know off the top of the head, rip it and ship it to me. Let me see. Sly still here, or did he just drop L underscore spam and just dip? I swear to God, this month sucker, bro. I don't know R34 Andes. What? You don't know any? I only read Dojins. All right. Okay, bro. All right, well, none of us is cultured here, all right? I guess I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to put y'all in game then. So can we see you in the anime now? I mean, if you squint your eyes hard enough, I'm basically in there, bro. I'm basically in there. Gee, man. Speedo-Roo. Do I dare search up the name? Oh, I think I know this person. Do I? Derpsion? Am I saying the name right? Derpsion, right? Derpsion? Man. Imagine though, chat. Imagine. Just about 1 second. Alright. Chat. They're still getting prepared, so. Hey, what is R34? Come on, man. You know what R34 is, bro. Stop acting like you don't. Hey, what's your opinion on the Futa tag? I'm gonna be honest, chat. I'm leaning, like, if you're asking me, is it gay to consume Futa? I'm more inclined on the spectrum of a little bit more gay, but technically I guess it's not. But like, I'm gonna be honest, bro, I just don't like Futa. I know, y'all love your Futas, bro, but like for me, dude, chat, I can't, bro. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pay someone to make you into a Shota. Please do not Do not commission me into a Shota. I beg you. And if you still do, I'm suing you. All right, who's the guest? It'll be revealed soon. Wait, FTC said Futa is like 30% gay. Yeah, like about there. You know what I mean? About there. I would say like about that percentage as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm the guest. It's me. All right, shut up, bro. See, like, YouTube chat is so unhinged, bro. It's like I can't read the stuff that y'all be saying over there. Like, I just can't. You know? Like, I'm not gonna even say it, bro. Futa 70% straight, 30% gay. Wait, what? If you just consume straight hetero, it's 30% gay? I mean, I guess because you're looking at yeah, you're watching a dude stroking it, right? I guess, but like, whatever, bro. Whatever, bro. But the thing is like you're not watching him. You're vicariously living through him. So I don't think it's gay, right? I don't think it is. Is it gay to like yaoi more than Futa? You're cooked. Nah, you're cooked. You're so cooked. Is YouTube chat the equivalent of Instagram and Twitch chat the equivalent of TikTok chat? Yes. Yes. Twitch chat literally brain broken, and YouTube chat are unhinged and literally say anything. Is it gay to be pegged by a female? I would say honestly that might be more gay than watching Futa. I would say that's like 50. I'll say like 70%. I'll say 70%. I'll say there. Is it gay to suck yourself? Nah, that's crazy, bro. Self-suck is crazy, chat. Self-suck is crazy. All right, I'm ready? Okay. All right, chat. He says he's ready. She says they're ready. I'm not sure. But we'll get into it, all right? Prepare yourselves. All right. Here we go, chat. Here we go. Dun, dun. All righty. Let's use this song. All right, chat, today we're gonna do something a little bit different. Today, we're spending a few minutes of our day, a day essentially, with an R34 anime. If you guys don't know what R34 is, basically it stands for Rule 34. And if you know the rules on the internet, the 34th rule, okay? Basically, it means if anything exists on the internet, it means there's gonna be explicit content for it, okay? Anything, any fictional work, any stuff like that, there will be explicit content for it. So I'm gonna be talking with animator that specifically makes a living out of making R34 content, all right? Specifically animating it, all right? So if you don't know where they are, maybe, just maybe you recognize some of their work, okay? So let me show it to you guys real quick, all right? Okay, we got Flight Check, okay? We got Nina Williams Interrogation, all right? We got MILFs Giving, Hood Classics in the Absolute Making, all right? What else? Tag Team America, all right? And then lastly, Morgan Halloween Special, all right? With a backing of 2,000 Patreon members, they are making a lot of content that people are enjoying. And who are they? I'd like to introduce you guys to Oni Guy, all right? So let's go ahead and talk to him and see what it's all about, all right? Okay, let's do it. Dun, dun. Dun, dun. Dun, dun. All righty, chat. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, I'm gonna hit him up. We'll get started on this, Johnny, all right? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right, bro, I'm about to do some research, chat. Like I'm saying, hold it in. Hold it in, chat. Look, I'm put y'all on game, but I need y'all not to beat it mid-sesh, mid-stream, and then tab back into me and bust. All right, when you see me, please. Okay? Please, I beg you. All right, I'm gonna hit him up right now. All right. Let's do it. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun.
Hello.
Hello. Oni
How's
Guy,
it?
how you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see me as well? Am I good?
Yes. Hold on. Let me turn off the audio from the stream.
All right.
There.
Okay. All right. Make sure everything's okay. think it's good. All right. So, I'm a guy. I like to introduce myself first. I'm a YouTuber, streamer, and I specifically make how do I say cultured content. Content that kind of pushes the line of YouTube's terms of service. All right. I'm kind of like in the community known as like the Smash guy because I just make so much Smash Pass content, right? But
The
I just
Edge
have a
Crushers, yes.
fascination. Have a fascination with culture content, R34 content in general, and that's just basically me. But the viewers already know me, so I would like you to introduce yourself and what you do specifically.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction that you gave earlier as well, which I saw. I am Onagi. I'm a 3D animator of the porn variety. I've been doing this for a little over 15 years now, actually. I can't remember when I actually got started working in SFM, but I spent several years before that as a 2D artist as well. But I just found that 3D animation was faster and a little bit more fulfilling. It's, the amount of time I spent into it, gave me a more exciting product. So I started leaning more that way. But
Okay.
other than that, I just strive to make content that's more for the mainstream audience. I feel like a lot of the guys that are my contemporaries are probably doing some of the crazier stuff, like the monsters and stuff. But I
Oh
try
yeah,
to
we
keep
we,
things
we
pretty
can talk
vanilla.
about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. I just want to talk about like how you got started. So like, I mean, there's like a few steps before you become a like a porn animator, right? So like, how did you escalate into this position that you are now? Like, where did it all started?
So it's a funny story. I mean, it's not super interesting, but as I said, I spent a couple of years as a 2D artist, basically doing similar things. And then one day stumbled onto some images on Roll34 actually, of another 3D character made by a friend of mine called Vaco. So I started talking to him actually, and then using that model in SFM, which I found to be a fantastic animation program because it was more like playing a video game than using something like Maya, which I absolutely hate. Uh, but I had a lot of fun sort of setting things up there, and then it just took off. Like it took me a couple of years to really get the hang of it and start sort of translating the things that were in my head into what was on screen. It took a while to get there, but yeah, I spent a lot of time referencing real life. Like I would just find gifs of stuff or clips, and then go, okay, can I do this? Can I animate this thing that I'm looking at? And so I would just do that over and over and over again until eventually, I developed the skills that we have now. There's still stuff for us to learn and to get better at, but I feel like we've sort of carved out a market of our own and a fan base of people who are like-minded to the content we're making.
So you start off as a solo man, right? But I believe you have like a dedicated team now of like animators and like a voice actor you commission, right?
Yeah, so the DFAC team, which is part of our Patreon, consists of Bellum, who is an old friend of mine who is also a 2D artist, but he pretty much handles our PR and just sort of manages all the social media stuff for us. I also have to work with, well, I didn't mean to put it that way, have to work with. It's absolutely critical that I have somebody who builds models for our content. The acts of animating and the acts of modeling are two very different practices, and they're quite complicated. So I have a friend of mine who goes by the name of Stealth 2111. So he makes our assets for us. I have somebody, Gaxus FM, who makes our music for us. Just because I don't always want to be trying to find things, from like Artlist or whatever that suit the scenes. So I have somebody who sort of makes music for me, and that way I can control, when things happen in terms of the audio. And then I have another animator who works for us who basically handles the lip sync portion of the work, because that's really the most boring and tedious part of all of this. I'll get excited about an idea for a scene, and I'll sit down and I'll start to work, and I'll animate all of the basic events of a scene, and then we send it away to voice actors. And yeah, there's a whole handful of different VAs that we work with on the regular. But then when we get that back, I mean, it's like a 12 to 8 hour process of doing all the lip sync for this stuff, and it can be quite draining. So I eventually found another person to come on and help us out with that. I would like to have more animators and do bigger and better projects, but it's not only is it hard enough for us to manage, having the budget to pay another animator, but I find that a lot of the guys that are in my position are very sort of excited and busy about their own ideas, and so convincing them to hop onto a team and work on somebody else's ideas can be difficult. It actually took me several years to find somebody who was willing to do all the model work for me. So I'm very thankful to have Stealth along. He's a big part of what I do.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that's a problem with like this industry in general, not just with like animation or just art, just like the adult industry in general. So like it seems like you have a hard time monetizing your content, right? Or at least monetizing enough where you can support like a bigger team to do more projects. So like how do you think you can monetize your content better? Like like what can you offer to your audience, or like a promise that you can, like the proposition value, like how can you increase your proposition value
Hmm.
for your audience, or even like beyond that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of aspects that go onto this. I would say it's not hard to monetize the content. There's lots of opportunity to do that, but then and I'm sure in streaming it's sort of similar. There are certain things that either make you more successful or less successful. So I'm trying to like arrange my thoughts here because, like I said, there's a lot of things that go on. The most important thing that I can say to anybody who's trying to do this is being consistent and being regular. Like even I have trouble doing that, but we do sort of manage to crank out a larger piece of content roughly every 2 months. So and we've been doing that for years now. So I think that that's one of the things that really helps us is that people sort of understand and can see, what they're getting into because it's such a long history of the work there. So that's, having a library of work and putting in the time and being consistent, that can help you. But then there's this sort of what I find is this wall of reach. How many people are you reaching? How many people can you convince that like your content to pay for it? So to me, that number, like when we look at my following on Twitter, for instance, which is, and yeah, I'm still calling it Twitter, which is about 30,000. But of those 30,000, you can really only seem to convince 2,000 of those people to go on and pay, where the others will just enjoy your content and go and get it from places that are free. So that's one of the things that we battle with is how to, sort of stop a lot of the pirating and that goes on and try and convince those people like, hey, if you like this content and if you're catching it for free in other places, please just sign up. It's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I feel like I keep our subscription price low. So the minimum for our tiers on Patreon is $1. It's $1. And you pretty much get access to just about all the content, all of the major stuff that I do at that point. And I feel like it's more of our problem as creators to convince more people to subscribe rather than it is for us to raise the price and get more money out of fewer people. So I'm constantly just trying to like, hey, get in more people, get in more people, get in more people. And one of the ways that we do that is to try and engage with the audience too. So we give them polls and ask them about what kinds of things they want to see and what kinds of characters that they would like, which is why our sort of roster of characters that we deal with is always expanding. Um, but those are the main points that I would say is one, being consistent, finding your market, like trying to find out what your audience wants to see. But then there's also an extent of like, yeah, but do you? You know what I mean? Like I see artists, especially in the 2D area, sometimes struggle to find an audience. And so sometimes they'll dive into doing something they don't necessarily want to do because they sort of find a market somewhere, like say furry stuff, for instance. Right. But then
Yeah.
you get caught up doing those things rather than the things that you want to make. So my advice to a lot of creators is no, do what you want to do, and the people who like those things will find you and they'll become part of your audience. I Our audience is awesome for me because at this point there are certain things that I have to do in all of our stuff that if I didn't do, like my followers would just riot. Like, why didn't you do this thing in the scene that you always do? That this is why we're here. You have to do this.
Hmm.
So that's about the rundown that I can think of how this all works.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off that, like, um, what do you think about the social stigma about like just the adult content in general? Because I feel like people like, um, I think I saw like a TikTok short or a YouTube short, that talked about like the history and the startup of like Pornhub, like Pornhub essentially, and like the people who made the systems and whatnot. And they talked about like it was one of the website with the most traffic, but it was not financially viable, right? So there's like a market and there's a mass consumption of like adult content, but no one's really willing to pay, um, even if the value proposition is there, right? So
Mhm.
it's just like a large social stigma about like oh oh, why can I? Well, I can just always find it for free. So like, oh, this loser is just paying for it. Like, oh, I can never be caught
Okay,
paying
okay,
for
I see.
porn. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like, there's always this negative stigma around like paying for content like that. And it's like in our frame of reference is like content you enjoy, but like in other people's outside the industry, they're kind of like, oh, you're paying for porn, like this, and they demonize it. So what do you think about
yeah.
that specifically?
Yeah, it's funny because I think there's two sides to it. I think that there is a lot of money in the industry, and I mean the larger creators know this because it's like $1 billion industry. But yes, there is a wall there where you have people who are consuming the content, but they don't want to pay for it. Um, if you're going to say, well, I work hard for my money and I have more important things to use it for, like, fair enough. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Everybody, it's hard for everybody these days. But at the same time, like I said, I try to keep the prices ridiculously low. So sometimes when we are, like we're met with people who are like, oh, I don't want to, pay. It's just like, really, like $1?
Yeah, it's only a
um,
dollar and you get like the full catalog, right?
yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, when you sign up, we have a website which hosts all the stuff that you can go watch. There's also a drive for all the downloads and everything. But basically, yeah, we have, over 100 videos. And as soon as you sign up, you get access to that and you can go watch all this stuff. But yeah, I think there is, I don't know if it's like people are like, it's just porn. I don't want to fork over for it. I don't like, maybe there's some amount of shame that goes along with that, and it's like, I wouldn't worry about it. Like, there's a lot of people on there, there's a lot of people consuming this stuff. There's nothing to feel weird about or guilty about. And if it makes you smile, you know what I mean? Like, I specifically, our goal, I guess, is to take the characters that many of us have sort of like grown up with, especially from some of these video game franchises that have been around for a long time, to take these favorite characters that you've grown up and loving, and then show them in an adult way to an adult audience, because all of us are sort of grown-ups now, and our interests go further than they used to when we were young. So yeah, I'm getting lost here, but yeah, it's just trying to convince people to be active in terms of supporting the content, can be difficult sometimes, but at the same time, we've managed to do it, and I'm very thankful for all the patrons that we have and the people who are willing to support us and to be patient sometimes when we're too slow, because these things can get complicated. Sometimes things can go wrong in your schedule, and then you're having to explain to people like it's not out yet because of this, and I'm sorry.
Hmm.
And then there's also burnout too. So sometimes we work on things and you just get kind of tired, and you've got to walk away from it for a little bit because it's a creative endeavor.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the people like outside the circle or
Mhm.
people who are like, I guess, a little bit contradictory about their consumption and their stance on it. But
Oh yeah.
how about how do you what's your experience with people within your circle, like family members, friends? Like, do they know what you do? Like, have you told them about this? Like, what's the perception around like what you do, or have you even told anybody about this yet?
Um, so no, I have not told anybody in my family. I kind of hope to keep it that way. Um, my spouse knows, has known for some time. And for the most part, what I try to do is keep my private life and our relationship separate from the work I do, just because I don't want it to, cause anything weird. She's as supportive as she can be. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
She never takes issue with it or tries to talk me out of it or anything. But, I think that there's a definitely extent, like I would never turn to her and be like, hey, look at this. Like that's,
Yeah.
that's not, I don't think that will go over well. So, I have a few friends that know, um, and for the most part, they just find it wild, like really, like you make money doing this, like yeah. But yeah, for the most part, I sort of keep it to myself. It's something we do. Like it just happened to be something that I did for fun that ended up making us, money
Hmm.
that I could live off, and that is basically that. It's basically just enough to live off. But we're always trying to take it a bit further, and I hope that sometimes it transitions into other avenues of business as well. But yeah, I think that I feel like for creators like us, the stigma isn't as bad. In that way, it's sort of sexist, I think, because I see the kind of harassment that creators on OnlyFans, for instance, deal with on a near daily basis.
Hmm.
We don't really experience that kind of thing much. When we experience criticism, it's more on a business aspect, and it's not somebody attacking you personally because we're not putting ourselves out as people in the way that those creators do.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we face things, it's often it's based on, well, you're taking too long, or you promised this project and it fell through and you never did it. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing that we face sometimes, or a lot of the criticism we actually face is so it's so funny. So I kind of hate going on to Rule 34, but I do it from time to time because that is the only real place that I get to see raw criticism.
Hmm.
Like people who engage with us directly are typically kind of polite about it. Like, hey, can you guys do this? Or I don't care for that, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then, yeah, when I go to Rule 34, the comments are just unfiltered and people will say anything. So one of the funniest things, and my team knows this, we joke about this all the time, is racism, actually. If and I have for quite a while, do content featuring Zach from DOA, um, people will complain, oh, well, you keep doing this content with a black guy. So I said, okay, well, I'll do something else. So then we did content with Elliot, or we do content with Dean, who's an original character from a friend of ours. So when we do that, well, then we get the opposite complaint of like, well, where's Zach? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you have to
uh,
balance the demand.
right. So it's like we sometimes we can't win, and that kind of criticism I just ignore. The next kind of criticism that yeah, Rule 34 comments are weird. Yeah, it's wild. The next kind of criticism that I often see is that some people don't want to hear the characters talk. Like they don't
I
want
like the
to.
storyline. That's
Yeah,
weird
yeah,
because I like build up. Like what? Like I get it. Like some people
yeah,
just want to get right into the action. Like they
yeah,
don't want
yeah, yeah.
like the build up, the foreplay. But like I like that. I like the storyline, the world building, the lore. Like I kind of want to know what's going on and get immersed in it. It just makes it better. That's
Right.
weird. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
Talk about
always
that.
yeah, I always want the characters to seem like people rather
Yeah.
than objects. And I think that that's what makes them fun and exciting. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, so we get complaints about, oh, well, the girls talk too much or, whatever. And then, yeah, we get complaints about having male audio too. So some people are like, I don't want to hear the dude. And it's like, I get that. Like, I understand, some people, they're trying to like live through the content, and put themselves in
Yeah.
there. And then by having that character have a voice and have a presence in the scene, it sort of disrupts that fantasy. I get
Hmm.
that. But at the same time, it's like I said, I want them to feel like people, to feel like characters, to feel like there's a lot more going on outside of these sequences. Um, so yeah, those are the
It,
kinds of things that we do.
yeah. It seems like you're extremely passionate about this. Like you're in it for the craft. Um, like, do you ever wish that like, man, I would love to share this with someone, you know, like your best project, you know what I mean? Like, who is that person that you would like to share that with without like any criticism, without any judgment, and they can just consume it face value for how it is? Or you just don't even feel that way at all. Like you use like it's like, oh, it's just for the audience. Whoever likes it, likes it. I don't really mind, a specific person consume it or not.
I think that for the most part, that person is on my team. Like Bellum is an old friend of mine, like in real life too. We've actually gone to school together. So,
Mm.
um, I he doesn't always care about the content, but sometimes I'm like, hey, like how do you feel about this? Like when we did Felicia as a character back in October, I was really hoping that he would be excited to like see this character come to life. But for the most part, it's yeah, I make content that I hope that the viewers are enjoying, but I'm also doing things that I enjoy, that I want to see. And so a lot of those clips that I sent you of the stuff that was, safe to watch on here, some of those are actually like my favorite moments of what we do because we are expanding on those characters in dialogue and seeing them come to life. Like a lot of what I do and why I have fun doing this is that I'm actually sort of practicing my filmmaking chops because that is one of the things the skills that I've developed over the years and that I love working on is filmmaking. But in this medium, I can practice a lot of that stuff without actually doing it, like not having to do with rounding up a bunch of actors and all the expensive film equipment. But I'm working with camera angles and story and lighting and sound effects. So it's like I'm just having fun doing that, and a lot of it is for my own enjoyment, and a lot of like, look what I can do. So that's also like why I talk about I want to do bigger stories. I want to tell more beyond these sequences. But there's also an aspect of like, yeah, I have to turn things out quickly and have to keep all the viewers happy and keep us funded. So,
Hmm.
but it's
So
tough
yeah,
to
go
to
ahead,
to
finish.
take on bigger projects if you don't have enough people to do them. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand when they see this stuff is just how long it takes for essentially one person to animate these things because we get a lot of people who are like, why can't it be longer? Like you're
Yeah.
doing scenes that are 5 minutes to 8 minutes. Like, why can't you do longer sequences? It's like, well, that's tough. It's a lot of work. It then requires money because we have to pay a voice actor. So the longer it goes, the more it costs us. And yeah, it's just if we had more people, I would do more. But that's also why it's like, hey, well, then go support us on Patreon because when we go beyond the goals that we have, then we have the room to hire more people and do more stuff.
Hmm. Um.
Sorry, I
So
know I kind of like
no, no,
ramble
no.
and
You're
wander
you're
off
fine. You're
the
fine. You're
main
fine. You're,
point.
you're completely fine. So it seems like the end goal for you is to be like to work in an official animating position, right? In terms of like maybe a big studio like Pixar, maybe DreamWorks, or like on your own project. You know what I mean? And for mainstream consumption. Like it doesn't seem like you're gonna be doing this forever, right? Like it's like art is like a
Yeah,
very like
yeah. There's a part of me that
momentum
knows that I
base.
can't do this forever. There's even a limitation to what we're doing in the software that we're using. Sooner or later, I know it's in the back of my mind that I have to move on from SFM and we have to go into Blender and go into more modern software animation programs. But I would love to work more in filmmaking. I no, I do not want to go to work to be a lead animator for a major studio. I don't want to do that. I wouldn't mind if I were offered a job animating for a video game company to do cutscenes and stuff like that.
Mm,
That I wouldn't mind so much. I definitely would be like, "Hey, CD Project Red, your sex scenes kind of suck. Like, do you need somebody to do better ones?" Like, I would take that job.
yeah.
But yeah, I would prefer to go more into filmmaking, and I would love to be a director or at the very least a writer. And one of the things that I love to do would be adaptations. I
Yeah.
see a lot of movies that are made about video games and about comics, and it's often they're pretty bad. They just don't get it right, and so that's one of the things I would love to do. In fact, I've talked about it with some of the people in our Discord. Like, gonna sit down and try and write like a DOA movie and see, where that goes. I would love to hand that off to somebody. So yeah, I might not tell everybody when I get hired, but there will be signs.
All right. I mean, do you think that transition will be hard? Because like, you have a long resume, but the resume is kind of like it's
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 okay.
not really a
It's
it's
okay to be honest.
I'm just trying to find a word. It's like not very presentable in a corporate setting. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
hey, I can
yeah,
animate, but I animate basically porn, and you kind of give
right.
it to like a corporate person, and they're like, how do they digest that? Like, how
Yeah,
do you think like how do you
yeah.
get past that stigma? Like, have you tried
I
to
do think that
break the
that
ice
will
yet
be.
with the industry, or like you haven't
Yeah,
tried?
no,
This is still in the works.
yeah. I do foresee that as a complication, and you know, I also do work that's separate from what we do, which is one of the reasons why I use a pen name. But yeah, I do think that if I go into a meeting and pitch a script, in my head, I would rather not disclose that information, but I feel like it might be inevitable. Like, even if I don't tell anybody, sooner or later, someone may find out and then I'll have to explain. So I don't know. I I would hope that I could present something that's of interest of its own merit, completely separate from what I do. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I can't ignore that what we've done is provided sort of a window and a doorway into other avenues. And so it's like, do I double down on it? You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I feel like here's the scenario. I feel like if I do go and I end up pitching a Dead or Alive movie and it gets picked up, that eventually if people are like, no, wait, this is the guy that did all this content. Well, I feel like it's 50-50. Like it may be that a bunch of people will be like, well, that's fucking awesome. And we know where this is going now.
Uh-huh.
In comparison to the earlier attempt, because they did make a movie of DOA back in the day, which was just awful.
Hmm.
Um, but then yeah, it could backfire, and it could be like, well, we can't be seen to associate with somebody or do business with somebody who's been in that industry. So who
Right.
knows? But it's I despite the stigma that may be attached to it, it's been a really fun way to make a living, and that's at the end of the day, that's sort of why I keep going. And it's also like I have this group of people behind me, and I'm happy that I'm providing this opportunity for them too. So I'm really happy with all of that, and it's one of the reasons why I can't just walk away from it.
Hmm. Um, I mean, we touched on this. You touched on it a little bit before about like your workflow and whatnot. It seems like you post about weekly, if not bi-weekly, correct?
Well, yeah, we have to make an effort to post pretty frequently in terms of promotion, especially on Twitter.
Yeah.
Um, I don't post as frequently on Patreon as much as I probably should be, just because a lot of the times more of my time is spent, working on the content. I think that that's all people care about. As long as the content keeps coming, then everybody's like, okay, cool. So yeah, I really just have to keep up with it. But it's kind of like being a shark. Like you have to just keep swimming. If you stop, if you become too stagnant, well, then you die.
Hmm.
So, so we're constantly like, okay, I've got this one in the pipeline. So what happens is I'll start a project. I'll do all the basic animation, which is essentially loops of actions,
Hmm.
or I'll set up the intro. So I'll do all of the principal animation, and then it moves on to the next phase, which is, well, I have to send it away for voice work, and that can take 2 weeks to a month, depending on the actors and their schedule. So while that gets shifted away, then we're moving on to, all right, well, what comes next? So I start the process again. Here's the principal animation, move that one out. So then the project comes back right from the voice actors, and then I ship it off again to our other animator who handles the lip sync, which may take another like 2 weeks. And then he gets it back to me, and then I have to go through and finish all of the editing, and then the post production, which is often music, sound effects, and then credits and stuff. And then you finally have a finished product. And like I said, this process for each one takes about 3 months roughly.
Months.
So we're constantly like, well, that one's done. On to the next one. On to the next one. on to the next one. I found in the past couple of years though, I got really distracted trying to make seasonal content. So I kept trying to like land on holidays and stuff.
Hmm.
But it really became sort of hard to maintain that. So we this year I've said, okay, we're going to stop doing the seasonal stuff and we're just going to focus on telling the larger stories that we want to and the things that we want to do. But we're also spending a lot of time like expanding the roster of characters that we're seeing. So coming up soon, we'll be doing our first Marvel character. So I'm excited about that, but that also may get me into trouble.
Have you gotten
Because
in trouble for like any copyright stuff? I mean, like like, this R34 stuff is low key. Like I don't think it'll break mainstream
yeah,
anytime
I don't
soon,
know.
right?
We haven't faced anything yet. The only example of that happening in our community that I know of is when Studio FOW did content for World of Warcraft. They were hit
Mm,
by Blizzard and
wow.
told,
Okay.
yeah, take that down. But from what I can see, though, for the most part, it starts off with any kind of like cease and desist notice. So
Hmm.
if I were to receive a cease and desist letter tomorrow from Team Ninja who says, "Hey, stop making stuff with our characters," I would go, "Sure, okay, fine, cool."
Yeah,
They
because
would have to make a really quick shift to original characters, which we do have. Ophelia and some of the characters we've done for her are our own creations, but we would have to shift pretty quickly to that.
yeah, because I think Nintendo is like one of the most like litigious companies, and like there's just
Yeah,
so much Pokemon content out there. So if I'm kind of surprised Blizzard even touched it, like it's kind of free marketing. Like I think
I
a lot of people consume more Overwatch content than actually just playing
yeah
the game nowadays. Like,
yeah
so I'm not sure why Blizzard's like striking down people for that.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to tell how they view this kind of thing because it all depends on their predilection, I guess. Because there's either two reactions: either they're going to see it and go, "Ugh, this is kind of damaging for the brand, and we don't really want that," or they may see it as free advertisement. I get the feeling that to some extent they, especially with the Overwatch stuff, they may have come to just accept like, no, this is part of what we created now, and we're just going to roll with it, and we're not going to talk about it, but we're just going to go, all right, whatever. I feel like I can see the creator of DOA possibly feeling that way.
Mm.
I've heard from some people that they are sort of protective of some of the characters, but I feel like given the nature of their projects and they knew what they were doing when they made some of these characters, or at least I hope so.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
think that
for
it,
sure.
it would be amazing for me for anything that I did with the characters to sort of become canon. I would just
Yeah.
I would freak out. But yeah, and it's like I said, the work that we do, it's kind of like, well, I like all these characters, I like these stories, and I kind of want to see them beyond the scope of what we see in the games. So a lot of the times, like the scenes I do are set up in a way that hope that they feel like cutscenes from those games.
Hmm.
But obviously in a more adult direction. But it's hard to know what will happen. There's not a lot of legal precedent for this so far, from
Hmm.
what I can see. Like I said, that one example is the only one that I know of. So we'll see what happens in the coming years.
Yeah. So there's a long process, right? But it always starts with passion, motivation, an idea, and you start animating. You start with a principle, the storyboarding or whatnot. Um, there's this meme when it comes to like maybe like etchy animes or like animes like High School DxD or like Monster Musume, and people always joke
Mhm.
about like, oh wow, it's crazy how these animators are animating with one hand. So throughout the creative process, I
Okay.
mean, you're obviously an experienced animator yourself. You know what's good, you know what's bad. So do you ever test drive it to be like, oh yeah, this checks out, this is good? Do you ever do that?
um, to some extent. So, yeah, it's the hardest part about this sometimes is the phrasing. The
Yeah.
hardest part about this is the inspiration and how out of control I am for that. So, sometimes it's like I have an idea in my head that I want to do, but then when I go to work on it, it's just not exciting me. you know. So I have to use that as at least some kind of sort of compass to how the audience will feel about it. So there are some sequences that I'm more excited about than others, and yeah, that can be a bit of a distraction.
Yeah.
But it's often, like how I know that I'm in the right place and I
Yeah.
should prioritize where I work. Because yeah, I've had projects that have just fallen by the wayside because on paper, it seemed like a good idea, but once I got to actually like creating it, I
Not
just
vibing with
went,
it.
it's not
Yeah.
working.
Mm-hmm.
It's not turning out the way I envisioned it, and it's tough because it's often there's a technical barrier to what you have in your head and how you want it to look. So I'm constantly, I mean, some people may not be able to tell this from the work, but I am constantly like, okay, well, how do I make it better? How do I do something that I haven't done before? How do I make it more cinematic? So obviously, those things aren't exciting in the manner that you're asking
Mm-hmm.
about. But yeah, we're constantly sort of working on that. So there's an amount of distraction, that you get, but there is a certain point where, especially given how long that these things take to make, there's a point where that excitement fades away, and then
Mm-hmm.
it just becomes the work, and so you're like, okay, I gotta do it. Especially, like I said, at the lip syncing phase, it's very tedious and can be pretty boring. So I'm trying to think. There was something else I wanted to point out. Yeah, okay. I don't know what it was, but it's not important. All right,
Okay.
let's keep going.
All
I don't want
right.
to
Yeah.
keep rambling.
So, I mean, favorite project in terms of like the craft, the cinematography, like the production value. That was your favorite, or even, you know, just your personal taste, where it got the blood flowing. Which project would that be for you?
I'm always most excited when we resurrect obscure characters or old characters that people probably haven't seen in a while. I always love seeing those characters come to life in a new medium. So a couple of those characters have been Tiffany Lords from Rival Schools. I mean, this is a game that's just way back, and not many people are, so it's not really on their radar anymore. Um, I but I loved like bringing that character into the modern setting, and seeing that character in sort of the DOA aesthetic. And then the actress that we got to voice her has been fantastic. So it's really sort of tickled me to like see this old character come to life in a new way. Those are always the ones that are most exciting to me. So we did Tiffany Lords from Rival Schools. We've done Angel from King of Fighters, who I also really liked. We did super excited to see the Darkstalkers characters. So we've done both Morgan and Felicia, and that's just because that game and those characters have just been retired. Like I don't think that the creator of that show wants to do anything with them anymore. So they basically just sit. So I'm very happy to like see those characters come to life, and not just like in the adult sequence settings, but just like hearing them talk and seeing their characters fleshed out has been a lot of fun. So yeah, like one of the clips I had sent you was this moment where Neo Tango's character from DOA is sitting down with Morgan's character from Darkstalkers, and they're just kind of girl talking and shooting this shit. I loved to see that. That was one of my favorite things. Another scene that really has been special for me was the flight check scene, and for no other reason other than just that dialogue between those two characters, between Monica and Elise, was so just like
The setup
funny.
was
And
great. Yeah.
yeah, and just kind of like this cute like look into those characters and their mentality and how different they are. That scene has a special place in my heart, and the two actresses who voiced them did perfect. That scene was it's one of the longest ones we've done, and yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare. And it just, it was a lot of work, like to do the sequence, but then all the setup. You know what I mean? And I was amazed that we were able to get the whole like helicopter liftoff sequence.
Hmm.
Like to a lot of people, like, what are you talking about? Like mundane things are hard to animate.
Yeah.
You might not think that, but yeah, having people open a car door and get into a car. Animating that can be tough. As opposed to the stuff that we're usually doing, which is mostly just like a cycle, a repeating cycle with some details. That stuff's easy, that stuff's fun, but all
Mhm.
this mundane stuff, that's harder. So it is exciting to me to see those kinds of scenes.
Okay. Um, so I'm not sure. It seems like I didn't have a good look at your Patreon yet, but do you ever take commissions? And maybe if there's like someone with like big bags of money and they requested something diabolical that you never even touched upon, you don't even have a model for it, you don't even know who to contact to get that model for. Would you ever take that offer? Because it seems like you're like sometimes your margins are really low in terms of like project to project, trying to pay everyone, keep all the overhead, like
Yeah,
and make
yeah,
everyone
it's
happy
not
at the same
as
time. So
right. I think when
is
people
there something like
see
that?
yes and no. Yeah, I think when people see the amount of money we make, they think, well, that's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, but it's split between 5 people
Yeah.
and more, depending on the kinds of things that we need for the production. So we do hemorrhage a bit of that income. Ideally, right now we're at like 5K. Ideally, we should be at 10.
Mhm.
Um, that really gives us the room to do everything that we need to do, and then I can start talking about maybe trying to find another animator.
Mhm.
But in general, no, I do not take commissions. I used to, but at this point, it's really hard for me to do that because, as I said, the schedule for our work is just continuous. Like it doesn't stop, and I can't. I can no longer like take time to do that. So it's basically like, yeah, I get asked that quite a bit, and I sort of have to turn people away because for the most part, it's like I I don't think it's. I don't want to sound snobby and be like you couldn't afford it, but basically, I don't think people often have a realistic idea of how much work is involved with their request and what that would cost for me
Mhm.
to do it. So for the most part, I just tell people, no, I don't have time to do that. I'm sorry, but thank you for the offer. However, you're putting forward this possibility of like the money. Yes, there is a line, there is a point where it becomes in our interest. So we have had somebody, a patron by the name of Manor Stories, and he produces video games like choose your own adventure, sort of like text style or graphic novel style video games that are
Mhm.
of an adult nature. He has come in and been sort of like an executive producer for us and said, okay, well, cool. I'll give you some money. You know, like, yeah, there was an expectation of like, I'd like to see this kind of scene, which is currently in the works. But yeah, he sort of helped us out, especially with the VA budget, because yeah, that's a major part of our cost. So there is a point where if somebody's waving enough money in my face, I would be like, okay, I'll consider it. But I would really prefer that it be, if there is a project like that, that it be in line with I don't want to use this term, but our core values, like the content that we're making, that and that's a whole joke too, which I'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Or if we have an opportunity. But if it's in line with the kind of thing that I would do, then I would be more inclined to accept the request. But yeah, we often do get asked for things that are outside of my wheelhouse that I'm not, um, you know, down to do. That's mostly what the requests are for. And especially when you have somebody who's like, I'm going to give you tons of money, but they just want this thing that's like, it's not really my thing, which I find funny to me because it's like you said, I have this long catalog, and it's sort of laughable when people like complain about my stuff. It's like I've been doing the same thing for years. Like, how do you not know?
Mhm.
I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments asking about Futa. Yes, I have. It's not my thing, but I do understand the appeal, and I have done a few animations and would be willing to do more. We actually have a tier on our Patreon for that. So if any of you want to go on there and sign up and then just start harassing me about content for that, that's okay. Go ahead. I'll do what I can. We do have some ideas there. So yeah, but too long didn't read. Basically, no, we don't take commissions. I just don't have time these days.
Yeah. Or maybe, like you said, you just don't believe you haven't had an offer where it's like, oh yeah, like that's like a no brainer. That would literally pay for like 2 years of like work, right? Like, I mean, we can't put it past
Yeah, yeah.
anybody because there's this dude, I forgot his name, like Verbaisly, or the guy who paid 50K for like the Hotel Has Been animation, and it was like a safe for work one. You know, like
Mhm.
there's people out there that has crazy amount of money
Yeah,
who just wants that
yeah,
type of
yeah.
content. So you can't put it past, the crazy people out there with
Yeah, never say
crap ton
never,
of
but
money.
yeah, there are definitely people out there who are probably like, you know what, I don't give a fuck. Let's just do it. Here's the money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's if it's there obviously is a line. There is a point where it becomes in our interest, and yeah, I'd be willing to hear them out. I don't typically just tell people no. What I get a lot, unfortunately, is people who have requests for things like, we want you to do this. Obviously they can't pay, but they ask anyway.
Mhm.
So for a lot of them, I tell them, well, okay, I'll see what I can do. It's not no. I'll consider it, especially if it's, like I said, it's in line with something that we would do anyway. Then I try to keep those ideas on the table. So there is a window, but it's always like, well, I can't promise you anything. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. I'm gonna give you some questionable tags. Okay. I want your quick thoughts on it. So we're gonna like speed through them. It's not a lot, but I just want you to give them like a quick thought, just like a one sentence, a one word thought. So I'm gonna start off with
Because I've been a
NTR.
rambling guest.
Do you know what
Sorry,
NTR
start
is?
with
NTR.
NTRs.
NTR. Do you know what it
Uh,
is?
no, I was about to Google it. Let's.
Basically, it's
I
like
have a
cucking or
guess.
cheating. It's like essentially
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, well, not cucking in a sense. It's just cheating. Like cucking's like when the
Uh,
person witnessed it, so it's just like cheating.
yeah,
What do you think
yeah.
about that? As a tag in adult content?
Hurtful.
Hurtful. All right. How
Yeah, not,
incest?
not my
How about
thing.
incest?
Yeah, also not my thing.
Futa.
Not my thing, but I get it. Like I understand the desire for it.
Tentacles.
Sloppy?
Horse.
Hell, absolutely not.
Dog.
Also, absolutely not.
Lowly.
Guys, I'm very vanilla.
How about lowly?
I feel like short girls need love too. Like yeah, I'm gonna rant here. I feel
Go for it.
bad because I feel like people see that stuff and then they're like, oh, you shouldn't be into it. It's gross, and it's just like, I don't know. They're small girls, small adults, and you shouldn't like deny their sexuality just because you're afraid of looking like a pedo or something. Like, okay,
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a difference though. Like I don't know. There's some
yeah,
lines where you can definitely draw. It's like okay, that's definitely like an elementary school, like girl, right?
right, right.
But your
It's
stance.
it
What's your
depends on
stance
the
on it?
intent.
Like what's your stance on it? Because I think there's been a lot of debacles. There's a lot of antis, lowly con sentiment on Twitter where people try to separate saying like, oh yeah, if you're lolicon, which are people who basically consume like lowly content, you're basically a pedo. While like the other
Mhm.
stance is like it's fictional to try to separate fictional from real life. Like if you shoot someone in GTA doesn't mean you're a killer, right? So like why would you consume lowly content? And why would that make you a pedophile, right? So like what's your stance on that and your thoughts on that specifically?
Yeah, it's like a lot of things. It's about the intent. So I was talking about this with one of the voice actors that we work with. If the intent is to identify a character as, or at the very least, imitate an underage girl for the sake of that fetish, then yeah, that's that's you know what I mean? Like that's pedophilia. That's not right.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, my compass has always been, well, are they just a short chick? Like I said, like small girls exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, no, they're just a small character. Like Marie Rose's character in DOA, I don't feel like the intent there was for her to look like an underage girl. You know what I mean? Like she's just a small chick. I mean, maybe that's just rationalizing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to me, and I'll accept that. But I feel like there's, like you said, there's a difference between those two things. And I feel like Mish Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the characters in that show really get close to that line where you're like, yeah, you're trying to represent this character as a child, and that's not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the line is for me. Is the intent? Are you really trying to be like, hey, look, she's a young girl? Like that's gross.
Yeah. I think it's a it's
So
it's a
yeah.
hard line to draw in terms of
Mhm.
like visual the anatomy or like just the visual aesthetics of a character. I'm
Mm.
not sure in any of your works have you incorporated like a character that's under the age, but they don't look like it. Like they just look like a normal girl, but their age is canonically like 17 or 16. Like, have you done that before? And where's your stance on that specifically?
I mean, in my head, no.
Hmm.
That so here's the way that I've operated is and I've gotten into it with people about this online. Basically, what my approach to this has been is to look at when the characters are introduced to the series and what age they are listed at that point,
Hmm.
and then to count from there, right? So I think it was, I can't remember the exact numbers, but basically, at least for the American versions, it was like Marie Rose's character, when introduced, was supposed to be like 17 or 18 or something like that. And then I basically just counted from the years from her introduction into that series. So at this point, she's almost like 30. She's like 27, 28 or something like that. So that's been how I work that in terms of the mentality. But yeah, no, I have not. People are talking about the FBI.
Uh-huh.
I have not gone out of my way to sort of depict a character in the sense that they were underage or a young girl. Like that's not something I really find exciting, so I didn't go there. Some people may take issue with that, but yeah, like I really kind of hate the idea that these characters get introduced and then they never age, you
Hmm.
know? So yeah, that's just been how I've handled it. Although, overall, yeah, I've been more hesitant to feature those characters. I believe to date we've only really done one serious scene with Marie. We have the Kana character from the volleyball games, but I have not yet actually done a feature with her. And then we will be seeing Nico's character soon too.
Hmm. I mean, it seems like you do a lot of video game characters and like OC characters. Is there like a game that you have recently played or a franchise that you have dabbled in that hasn't been featured in your work and you would want it to be?
Sorry, I'm like thinking.
Are you good?
Yes, Cyberpunk. I have loved the Cyberpunk game, and
That's great.
I've
Yeah.
sort of starting to learn some of Blender. I've done like one animation with a
Hmm.
Cyberpunk character, but yeah, that's one I'd like to get into, and another one of those franchises where I would actually love to just take it a step further and either do a TV show or a movie. I would love to pitch one. Um, yeah, so that's one of the characters, but in we basically just refer to it as the Oni CU, the Oni Cinematic Universe. In the stuff that we do, we're constantly sort of expanding outwards. So, like I said, we've included characters from Darkstalkers, from Rival Schools, from Mortal Kombat. Although I haven't featured too many of them, so we'll be trying to work on that. And now, sort of like reaching a little bit into Marvel. Um, and some of like we just did a user poll where it was like Mortal Kombat and Final Fantasy were the things that people wanted us to
Oh
get
yeah.
into
Final
most.
Fantasy is gonna have a uptick because of the new game release for sure now.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just seeing that in my newsfeed today talking
Yeah.
about how they caved to user demand about her breast size. Which is hilarious because we did a Tifa model. We've done a Tifa sequence, although I should go back. That was some time ago. I should make a more recent one. But yeah, when we created our version, our model of Tifa, there even then, there was still like her boobs aren't big
Yeah. So
enough.
yeah, and
Those comments. So yeah, I find that funny that happened. But so yeah, we've done Tifa. I really want to do Lulu from Final Fantasy VIII, I think. And then yeah, there was a lot of requests for
I
Yuna
think
and
she's in
Rikku as
10. Are you
well.
talking about the black hair one with the black dress?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
always
that's
get
10.
confused about which ones because it's like 7 and 8 are the most popular ones, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. So you're trying to switch to Blender. Like, is it easier in terms of animation or just importing models? Because I think it seems like a lot of these, I'm not sure, I'm not sure you have to build the models from the ground up, or you can just import it straight from the game to Blender and animate off that. Like, do you know how that works?
Yes. So there are different approaches. Most of what we do is that we're taking some of the assets from the game. I honestly probably shouldn't be saying some of this legally.
Borrowing.
Yeah, borrowing some assets from the game, but then assembling them with assets that are completely separate. So that we have a specific sort of like aesthetic that I have for the characters' bodies that help to sort of. There are two reasons for that. One, to maintain the aesthetic that they have in the game, in the video game, like in the DOA universe at least. But that's also functional. Like there's certain needs that I have from the model that need to perform, and that's one of the reasons why our models look the way that they do, because there's a lot of people in our community who will go and use what are called like the DAS model bodies, and in my experience, they don't really cooperate with certain actions and certain poses in a way that I like, so I don't use those. Um, some of the characters are made completely from the ground up. So, like our Ophelia model, originally was a model that I assembled from bits that Lord Aardvark had put out there. But eventually, like I said, there's a functional requirement that I need them to do for the sequences. So I had to make a new model. So that one was made completely from the ground up by Stealth 2111, as well as the orc model that we had for the recent sequence with hair. So yeah, it's a mix of both. Like that's another thing that we've had a lot of fun doing is going, hey, we want to do this character. I basically have to go and then hunt down assets. A lot of the costumes are basically built from mods from people in that community, and I sort of pick and choose and assemble something that looks and resembles the character as closely as possible. But to some extent, they sort of change. So we did Kira from Mortal Kombat, and I can't remember which Mortal Kombat game. This one was a bit over my head. I haven't been a big MK fan, but Stealth really wanted to do this character. So Kira was kind of one of those obscure characters that they sort of abandoned. But it was a lot of fun to like take that character and go, okay, well, what would she look like in this universe, and then bring that forward and then see how that outfit turned out. That was a lot of fun and really cool to see.
Yeah. It seems like you merge your work with a lot of characters from video games. Have you tried it with anime? Because I for animation I've seen with like specifically anime characters, and maybe not anime, but like the anime aesthetic, like Genshin, for example, the cell shaded like models. It looks a little bit jarring. It doesn't look as natural. Or like it's like a little bit uncanny in a sense. Like it doesn't have its like it's trying to keep that
Yeah,
same art style that the game has, but it just doesn't fit
yeah.
in like this type of content. So have you tried, making your own custom model from like an anime, maybe One Piece, Naruto, or like an anime in general? Like, have you tried to do that before?
It's something we've thought about. I do occasionally get requests from people who are like, "Hey, would you ever consider doing this character?" Like, I think we've been asked about your Forger from Spy
Yeah,
Family.
that's yeah.
Um, yeah, so there is like a bit of a disconnect where I'm like, I haven't worked with models much that are in anime aesthetic, because there are some that are available.
Yeah, there's some video games
But
like
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, it doesn't fit the kind of aesthetic that we've built so far. So it's like, yes, we probably will get to that eventually, and I can't really think of an anime character off the top of my head. Like maybe because some of us, like I said, me and Bellum are kind of older,
Mhm.
so I mean, doing Faye Valentine from Cowboy Bebop would be like a possibility, and it would be interesting to see those characters brought into this universe and see what they look like. I really hope, because we're doing Emma Frost from Marvel, we're doing the White Queen. I really hope that some people look at that and go, "Wow, this is cool." Like Marvel hasn't really made a very good video game in a while.
Yeah.
Like we would almost like to see more of this. So
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see how that goes. I saw somebody. Hold on. Somebody was talking in the comment section. Blender is good for all around animation. Newer, better physics, lighting. SFM is obtuse and a beginner, very hard to get into on an efficient basis. Okay, so I have used most of the or at least tried to most of the major programs. I learned animation using 3D Studio Max, and that was quite a while ago. And then got back into it using SFM. I then did some time learning Maya. I did work for a video game called Project Lovecraft. or is it Operation Lovecraft? Um, and I hated it. I hated Maya. It's so like overwhelmingly technical. It's full of windows and animation that as an animator you just don't need because the program does both. It does modeling and animation, and it's just so sterile and boring and technical. So it was a huge pain in the ass to work, and I hated it. And it in this creative process, it's got to be fun and it's got to be exciting, which is why SFM has worked for me. Because like I said, it's more a little bit more almost like playing a video game. Once you know your way around, obviously, Blender is like an in between. Blender is obviously a better program, um, and it's not as hard to use as Maya was. So, and I think that Blender has a lot of potential going forward in the coming years. So, yeah, we will be making that transition at some point. But yes, SFM does have some severe limitations. At the moment, I still appreciate it because like I said, I feel like the scenes that we do are cutscenes from a game, and I want them to feel that way. Still, I feel like when you move to Blender, it doesn't look that way anymore. It looks more advanced than the games. It looks different.
Hmm.
So yeah, eventually we'll get there, but there are different things in SFM that SFM can't do. Like SFM has no collision, so the models can't, you know, interact with each other. Basically, like if
Hmm.
one character bumps into another in the system, they'll just pass right through each other. They'll just clip through. So we
Hmm.
have to go through and animate, any kind of like physical, and that can be a pain in the ass, especially with
Yeah.
anything like hair, because the models will
Yeah.
have hair that sort of dangles and it'll dangle through them. So that's kind of a pain in the
Oh
ass.
man.
There's also no sort of like physics for like fluid. So a lot of any kind of like particles in the game that
So
look like
you have to
fluid
hand
just looks like
animate
shit.
the money shot. That's what you're saying.
Yes, that is okay. This is a whole joke with us and the team is that if I could hire another person, I would hire another person to do just that,
A
so that I
splooge
wouldn't have to
animator,
worry.
dedicated
Right,
splooge
right,
animator.
right. Just so I wouldn't have to deal with it
Yeah, because it's
anymore. It's
liquid. It's
not.
like that's a lot
Yeah,
of like you have to think about like how it spreads, how it hits, how it reflects, right? Like
right. Or
we're
how
talking
it
about rigging and all
contacts
that
and
stuff, but
hangs
like
off of things. Right, right.
yeah, animate like in animation there's like lighting, so like you have to take that in consideration. So it's like, oh man, God, jeez, I can't even imagine that. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
let's
it's funny because there was another animator that I'd seen in our community who was good at it, and I was like, okay, awesome, I got to talk to this guy. But yeah, it was that same thing. I was like, hey, look, I really like you to come and work for us, and they were basically like, no, I just do this for fun. Like, I don't have time, you know what I mean, and I don't want the obligation, so no.
oh, okay. Damn, I thought he would take the offer. Like he does it for fun and get paid to do something. His
Like I
hobby,
said,
I
it's
would. Man,
yeah.
I
A
guess
lot of the
everyone
guys that
ticks
are
differently.
Yeah, a lot of the guys that are in our field are too busy doing their own things, their own ideas, and they don't have time to go and work for somebody else on their other ideas. So it becomes kind of difficult.
Okay. Onga, let's get to know you a little bit more, like your specific taste. Okay. It seems like you're old school. Maybe you haven't watched a lot of like the new stuff yet, but like in terms of all the stuff that you have watched, what's your favorite anime or manga? Even stuff that you have read, even if you ever dabble in like manga before. Like, give me a top 5 list of your favorite series.
Sure. That's hard to do, but I'll do my best. So
Okay.
Cowboy Bebop, I think, is probably one of the best animes ever made. I'm a big Gundam fan. Um, on the more modern side, Jujutsu Kaisen has been awesome. Lately, I've been on Free Ren and Solo Leveling.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to think of other things that really stand out. But for the most part, like, no, I'm not. I will not be saying One Piece, unfortunately. I only recently watched that show. Once that Netflix said that they were going to do an adaptation, I was like, okay, maybe I'll finally go watch this. And yeah, I'm not sold.
Eh,
My issue with that show really is I think they have a lot of cool and interesting characters, and it's definitely a wild story. But the pacing it just drags on way too long, and I
yeah.
basically hate watched it to the 1000th episode and then said, all right, I've seen everything, I'm done, and I moved on.
Oh, so I mean,
um
you're essentially like caught up to like a completed arc, though. I thought you
yeah,
just dabbled. Like I thought you just looked at it like, yeah, it's too long, and you're just gonna
no,
wait
i
off into
i
the.
have I have an amount of determination of like, even when I don't like something, I'll keep watching it because I'm just like, okay, I just want to see what the big deal is. Like I want to know because One Piece has a rabid fan base, and so I was just like, all right. Well, I did the same thing with Naruto. Like I, I didn't watch it until I was older, and yeah, I was just like, nah. Like if I were Kakashi, I would have failed these three kids, and then they never would have made it to ninja at all. Like I just like you two are idiots. Like get the hell
Nah.
out of here. So anyway, yeah, I will give things a solid try
Okay.
before I decide that I can't. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else notable. A lot of the times now, I just watch anime because it's easy watching. So I love a lot of the isekai stuff. Um, it's repetitive, but every once in a while
Yeah.
somebody does it better than another, and so I'm just like, yeah, all right, this is cool.
All right.
Chainsaw Man has been a lot of fun too. Actually, I just saw that in the comments. Yeah, I
Chainsaw Man, yeah.
like I like that one. I don't like the darker, heavier stuff, but other times I'm like, nope, that shit's good.
You said,
Overlord, yeah, that one's been all right.
how about Mushoku Tensei
I
or
didn't at
Jobless
first.
Reincarnation?
Yeah, I didn't at first because the show starts out kind of weird and does lean on some sort of lolly tendencies.
Yeah.
Um, but the story overall is good. And as it progresses, it becomes more serious and it becomes more nuanced. And yeah, I've grown to like that one. The first couple episodes was like, I don't know, but then yeah, like towards the point of the show where it gets more serious, it's just like okay, I like it now.
Yeah. What are like? I mean, you seems like you're the person to sit all the way till the first episode until the last episode. Like it seems like you want to complete a full show before giving it any type of judgment.
Yeah,
So
I try.
there's shows that you must hate and it's absolute torture, and you're like, I could have lived my life without watching this. What are 5 shows? What are the 5 worst shows that you ever watched that'll scar you forever that you like just wish you had your time back with those shows? What would they be?
I don't want to say One Piece, but to some
Yeah.
extent, yeah, yeah. It's like I said, it's I think that they have interesting characters. It's a wild story, but the pacing was just way too long. Like they would just drag out. It would be like 10, 15 episodes on a flashback, and it's like really like you could have
Yeah.
done this in like 2 episodes. So that one kind of irritated me.
Yeah. So
There was a show called Frozen.
Ozen.
I don't know if you know that one. I
Not
think
heard
it
of
only
it.
had like one season, but I basically turned that one off at a certain point because it basically like had a character that was really abusive and sort of like rapey, and then allowed that character to have like a redemption and a turnaround. Like, oh well, I'm better now. It's like, no, 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 no. Hold on, like that. Yeah, freezing. I think is the show.
Freezing? Okay.
Um, yeah, somebody said in the comments. Yeah, that one I just turned off. I was like, nope, I don't agree with that.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I'm trying to remember anything else. I mean, most of that hasn't happened in anime because I often just sort of accept anime for what it is. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
80% of anime is the same recycled tropes. It's just do they do it well or not?
Yeah.
Do I enjoy romance anime? Yes, there are a few that I have gotten a kick out of. Love is War, Kayaga-sama, or I don't know if I'm saying that one right. That one was pretty good. Uh, there's another one I'm trying to think of that I can't remember the name of. All I remember is that the main character of the show was a short girl, was a lolly girl, called the Palm Top Tiger. I can't remember what that show's called.
Oh, Toradora.
Uh, yes, yeah, that one's pretty
Yeah.
good. And then there was another one that was like about the quintessential quintuplets. I think it was
Yeah.
like a pair of five sisters. That one was good too. Castlevania. I was never into the game, but the anime was awesome. It was really cool to see a modern anime go back to those sort of dark extremes that old school anime used to have. I felt the same way about the cyberpunk anime too.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah. Anyway, I forgot where I was at. Yeah, so most of the things that I'm like, this is trash, have not been anime. They have been the adaptations when they tried to bring them to TV. So like the Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop was just
Yeah.
garbage. Like
Have you tried the One
just
Piece one? I think it
yes,
was
I
actually like
have,
pretty
and
well
I was
received.
actually yeah, I was actually surprised. That has been the first one where I was like, okay, cool, I can stand to see more. Like even though I didn't care for the original anime, the TV show fixed part of the problem, which is that the pacing is too long, so they condensed it a little bit, and it happens quickly. So that was cool. I feel like they went a little wild, like it was a little wacky, but the original is like that. So I can't fault them. I felt like it could have been a little more serious, but maybe they're trying to stay true to the original sort of sense of humor.
Mm.
So that's okay. I made it through that one and was like, cool. I can wait for another season and see how this goes. The adaptation of what was it? Shit. Yu Yu Hakusho, which came
Oh,
out recently.
yeah.
A mix of good and bad. Like the action sequences were cool. It was cool to see somebody go back to doing sort of like Jackie Chan-esque sort of like stunt work. That
Mhm.
was awesome. Some of it went a little too far. Like I feel like what they did with Hiei's character was a little too edge lord emo kid. They could have backed off on that. Um, but yeah, it's just certain adaptations of TV shows are the things where I just like, yeah, I just turned it off. Like I made it through Cowboy Bebop, but I didn't want to because it was just such like a favorite show of mine, and they just butchered it.
Yeah. It seems like there's also a trend with trying to make video game franchise into live action. Some succeed, like I would say, like I think the Last of Us, I think it was well received. But there's a new one
Yes,
coming
that's
out.
true.
There's a new one coming out, and it's Borderlands. Um,
Yeah.
it looks pretty bad. But what video game franchise you adore the most? Where you're like, I don't want them to touch it. This is like keep it as a video game. It fits perfect as the meaning of a video game.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's a caveat to that. I don't want them to touch it until I do it.
okay,
Uh,
all right, you get first
Mass
dibs.
Effect. Mass Effect. I
That's
don't
like,
I don't want them to do that until like I'm in the industry. Like, please let me do this one because you guys are gonna fuck it up.
hmm
Um, yeah, I don't want them to touch Mass Effect. I would love to do a Mass Effect movie. I don't want. I'm desperately hoping that they don't get around to doing Cyberpunk. Also, I would
mm,
love, like right now, I'm writing a show for Cyberpunk that I would love to try and pitch. But the odds of that being successful, if you know how the industry works, is pretty low because it's like you have to get the go ahead from CD Projekt Red before you can even talk to a studio about trying to push that. Otherwise, they just tell you to get out.
yeah,
Um, so anyway, yeah, those are the two. I'm just like, no, don't do it. Yeah, I think it's pathetic to be like, okay, let's talk about the video game adaptations that have been well. And here's how pathetic that is. The only ones that have really gotten it are Mortal Kombat and Detective Pikachu. That's to me, that is sad. Like I cannot think of another like video game movie adaptation that did better. Like Mortal Kombat is obviously like but at
there's a
least
bunch of
it's
Mortal Kombat
fairly
movies though.
accurate.
Is it like a recent one you're talking
No,
about?
I'm talking about the original one, the first one. At the very least, they were
Mm,
still sort of accurate to the original game, as
mm,
opposed to like doing a bunch of like wacky stuff that wasn't in the game. Like the modern one that they did recently started out really good. Like the opening scene of that movie where they show the past of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, like that was great, but then the rest of the movie was trash.
mhm.
And I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, see, they're talking about kind of
Yeah,
that's my whole thing about Cyberpunk is like I feel this pressure to do it before Keanu gets too old. Like I
yeah.
really want to see him play Johnny, but he's getting older and soon he may not be able to do it. Other people will be like, well, there's all this AI stuff you can do, and it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to see him play this character.
hmm Yeah. Um, I mean, we talked about a lot of single player games. Do you dabble in any multiplayer PvE, PvP games at all? Do you keep up with any
Yeah,
of those?
um, not that many. I'm not a big fan of like PvP. Like I don't want to fight other people. I love co-op games because I'm sorry, I gotta stop here. I just see this guy's screen name, Ashura86AE. Hey, bro, that's an amazing car. I see you. I see you there. I've got an 86, but I've got the modern one. Anyway, sorry, I had a car nerd there for a second.
Very good.
Um, yeah, so over the years, like I spent a lot of time playing Left 4 Dead. Bellum was a huge fan of that, so we had a lot of fun playing Left 4 Dead for quite a while. We spent a lot of time in Warframe for quite a while.
Yeah,
And it's
that's a
actually,
grindy
I
game.
don't know if this is still true, but I ran a clan in Warframe. And if you go and you look at the old leaderboards for that, our clan was still listed. I can't remember which one now because it's been so long, but our clan was still listed as number one for one of the competitions. That was fun. Let's see. Does bro play Pokemon? Unfortunately, no. I have not done. I played a long time ago when the first game came out, like the Pokemon Red.
Mm.
But then yeah, that was my brother's generation. He loved that stuff. So I'm trying to think of other like multiplayer games currently. No, that's one of the things. Like been disappointed there haven't been a lot of like good co-op games. Like I really would love to just hop on with a group of friends and like do a mission, you know.
Hmm.
So there hasn't been a lot of that.
Yeah, it also seems hard because it seems like you have such a busy life trying to manage things and do also like your side passion project, and then try
Mm,
to keep up with anything that's like you know trendy or like what are people talking about? Like what's the next hottest character or whatnot, right?
mm. But I find time. Like I when Phantom Liberty came out back in fall, I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this project and then I'm basically gonna take a month off.
Yeah.
So I did that when Phantom Liberty came out, and I wasn't disappointed. That was awesome. But yeah, so I find time. It's one of the benefits of sort of like being your own boss is that you manage your schedule. And like I said, there are times where we get burned out and you have to step away for a little while and just do something else until your sort of creative headspace comes back again. And that's the most frustrating thing about it is it's something I can't control. So sometimes I'll work and get some stuff done, and then suddenly I'll go a week where it's obvious like I'm not going to get anything done, you know, and I'm just miserable. So I just stop and do something else, and then come back to it when I'm back in the headspace.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about the future. So there's two sides to it. Where you see the industry and where you see yourself. So I think when I was perusing R34 videos, I think I literally saw a built-in advertisement from Gamer Subs. So it seems like some companies are dabbling in like marketing in like the adult section because there's just so much traffic, right? It just seems like a no-brainer, but at the
Yeah.
same time, there's like a double-edged sword where like you don't want to be associated with that type of content when people see your product, right? So, is there a chance that you ever see you partner up with another company and integrate it within your content or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, I think that the industry is starting to be aware. I think that what years ago, it was like we're making products for kids, but I think in the recent years they've really just started to learn like no, like some of our audience is just straight up adults. You know what I mean? Like they're not
Yeah.
kids anymore.
Hmm.
You've got gamers who are probably at this point in near or in their 50s. So I think that with certain games, like Cyberpunk is one of those examples. Like literally had sex sequences. There was some in Mass Effect as well. So I think that they're starting to sort of lean in that direction and go, yeah, there's a market here and we have to consider this. And I think that they should rip that band-aid off and stop being afraid. That said, they obviously do have to make a more vocal job about ratings.
Hmm.
Which is one of the things that I hear people when they complain about, like, oh, why is this stuff in a video game? And it's like, well, it wasn't a video game for kids, and if you're not paying attention, you know, yeah, that's on you. But I also think the industry could do a better job of like, no, we're going to make titles that are in this vein, but they're going to be rated a certain way, and you have to be careful about that. So there's that. Yeah, like I said, if I were to, get an offer from a company that says, "Hey, well, we want you to come in and work on this," and it didn't matter, in which fashion. Like I said, if CD Project Red were to hit me up, I'd be like, "Okay, cool. What do I need to do?"
Yeah.
And I don't care if that's just writing or I'm helping with the sequences or whatever. Like I would do that. Whether or not that will actually happen, I don't know. I feel like if I keep going with what we're doing, someday that will evolve into something else, but what that is, I don't know. I would like for us to get into making video games eventually. So there has been some throwing around of the idea of making a video game for the Ophelia character that we created. So that may happen in the next year or so. But I've also said, like I'm trying to tell some of the stories that I have in my head right now before we move on to Blender, because I want these stories to have that feel that we've established so far before we move on. But I definitely know that we have to, going forward in the future, we have to move on to Blender because SFM just has its limitations.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm seeing people like, who's talking?
Yeah, Zanagi, guys. Zanagi. Nagi Hanzo. To talk about the future a little bit more, this might be a loaded question, but where do you hope to see yourself in 5 or 10 years in terms of like what you still do or a future collaboration that you might want to seek out? You know, a dream collaboration where like you looked up to someone in terms of like an animator or like, hey, I want to work with this voice actor or this just anything
Yeah,
like that in terms of franchise
yeah,
stories or whatever.
yeah. All right, I'll try and answer that, but there's a couple of things going on in the chat I'd like to address too.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in the coming years, um, like I said, I would really like for us to reach that 10K a month goal, just because there are bigger, better things that I want to do, and we need to have a larger budget to pull them off. I want to finish up the stories that I have in my head now, because there are several of them um, that I've had in mind for a long time, and people who are longtime followers, know these stories and they know what I'm talking about, and that I haven't done them all yet. So there are several large stories that I would like to do. Um, and yeah, I would like for us as a company and for me as a creator to progress hopefully into something else. Like I said, either making video games or being in film in some way. I'm doing what I can to sort of move, but I also like there's a shame in that because I don't want to like walk away from this thing, this career and this medium that we've had so much fun with and has really provided me like a cool opportunity to make a living doing.
Mm.
Okay, so on the questions, somebody's asking basically if I'm a boobs or an ass guy, or a thighs. Okay, so
Go ahead.
if I had to give, if I was forced with a gun to my head to choose one answer, I'm more of an ass guy, just because I could still feel just as excited about a girl with a nice ass as one that didn't have a big chest. But I love both. I'm kind of an equal opportunities person. I feel like my taste in women is a bit like food. Like, would you eat the same dish of food every day? No. There's sort of benefit in variety, so have fun with it. But
Hmm.
yeah, if I had to answer, I'm an ass guy. Somebody was asking about my takes on AI. Whew, okay, here we go.
Yeah, go for it.
We do not currently use AI in our workflow, but we have looked into it, especially for now, just in the aspect of 2D work. So we are still, to some limited extent, working on comic books. And at the moment, we would only be using AI to generate background images, not like parts. Everything in the comic book panel and the characters is done by hand, but we would consider using it as creation for background images because a lot of that time is sort of tedious, and AI is of benefit, especially if you're a small production. However, I do take issue with it being used in larger productions. I overall, AI's use in art to me is unethical based on this one idea. There are people who want to do these jobs. Like they literally went to school to do these jobs, and to use AI and technology to replace those people, that's unethical, right? It's not like we made this software to do work that people don't want to do, right? We didn't focus on like, hey, we made AI that can sort garbage for recycling, or we made AI that sifts through data for analytics. Like it is being used for some of those things, but I would prefer that it be used for work that is designed for jobs that people don't want to do. I think it's wrong to introduce this technology to take away jobs that people want to do. But it's here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere. So I think that going forward, AI should be used to augment a person, a worker, right? So you have an animator, you're still employing people, but they, as individuals, are using AI to augment their work. That I think is fine. But for a company like Disney to use AI to make the opening credit sequence for Secret Wars is like, really? Like that was probably an animation team of like 5 people and you whittled it down to one person. So,
Yeah.
to me that I don't like that idea. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm getting into conspiracy theories and doom here, but my overall problem with AI is that we have to start having a conversation about what the future of that looks like for people, right? Sooner or later, we all have to ask ourselves how an economy, how a society works when no one is employed, because all of these companies will do whatever they can to automate and save on labor costs. And it's like, if that's inevitable, okay, cool. Then what's going to happen with people? How are they going to make a living? And our our society needs to start talking about that now rather than before it becomes a crisis. All right, so I'm
Yeah.
done with my rant.
Are you good? I mean, to go off what you're saying, like let's just say, for example, I mean, I think well, this could happen in the very close future, even. I think ChatGPT came out with a feature with fully rendered videos. Like you can type in a prompt and
Yeah,
it'll pop up like with the video. It's still very
yeah,
iffy, but it's like it's crazy advanced. It's just like a 1 year advance between like the Will Smith
yeah.
eating
Oh
some
yeah,
type of food and to this like landscape like
yes.
drone
People
shot.
were saying Sora.
Yeah, so
Um,
let's just say, for example, started to become R34 animated videos.
mhm.
How would you
Well,
approach that?
that's
Like,
only a moment of time.
yeah, let's say like a company approached you. Like, would you license your work out to them, or would you just flat out say no? Like, what's your stance on that?
Yeah, see, you're framing that at an interesting question because you, unlike a lot of people, understand how this tech actually works. It can only create what you feed it. It
Hmm.
requires content to be inputted before it doesn't just make something from nothing, right? So a lot of the people who are talking about this stuff, they don't understand how it works. Like I just saw the NBA put out some video where they're like, "Hey, we used AI to recreate a playback of a play that happened in a game, and then we used it in the style of Into the Spider Verse." And it's like, okay, so you just
Yeah,
just
they
no,
stole
you
the
just
work of the
right,
movie.
and I'm pretty sure you didn't ask them about that. I think the director commented and said, "Yeah, they never asked us about that." You
Yeah,
basically, yeah, fed your AI program someone else's work without their consent. So yeah, whether or not I would be willing to submit my work, that's tough because it's like, yeah, on the one hand, if they're asking, like, I want to do something that you would enjoy, like we're doing this project and it's in the vein of something you would do, are you okay with submitting your work? Maybe. But then the question is, what happens beyond that? You know what I mean? Like, how do I know that the the project and the work isn't taken beyond that context and into something else that I don't agree with? So all of this is going to come down to the evolution of copyright law. We're already starting to see some of those conversations where I think the patent office has said, one, you can't copyright something that isn't created by a human being. But there's a threshold for this currently, and what that will work out with legally is still yet to be seen. But they have stated, especially in the contracts for the unions in Hollywood, using the likeness of an actor. That's something that they hold copyright to. You cannot do that without paying those people for it. So they're going to have to start carefully negotiating these contracts and what use of AI in someone's likeness or someone's work means. But yeah, I can see already, like when I see um and I just find it so funny when I see, hentai pinups that are done by AI. I can often see who the artist is that they fed that
hmm
prompt. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't ask that person. Same thing, like I brought up the opening credit sequence for Secret Invasion. I'm pretty sure I know the artist that they fed that work, and I haven't seen them say anything, so I'm pretty sure that they did that without asking that artist. Um, and the part about it I find funny is that the tech is moving so fast that there are a lot of people that aren't caught up to it. So you'll see, Instagram posts of AI models, completely AI generated images, but you see people in the comments section like, "Hey girl, what's up?" Like thinking this is a real person. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it's not even real. So that's to me that's the problem that's most concerning about this stuff is that there are a lot of people who don't understand what they're seeing. And I have been saying, again, this is sort of uh, pessimistic, but it's only a matter of time before this becomes an issue. You know what I mean? Like, how long is it until a politician or a potential president has to stand up there and explain, look, these images you saw of me are not real. I didn't do these things, right? Then it becomes serious. So we're starting to see that now with the Taylor Swift images.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only now that they're going, oh, okay, I guess we got to talk about it. It's like, yeah, you got to talk about it. Handing that tech out to anybody, to any random idiot, was potentially irresponsible. So we'll see. I think that going forward, this is going to get worse, and we'll see because our government is often sort of reactionary rather than proactive. So we'll see how that goes.
Huh. Huh. I mean, I think that's all the question I have. Do you have any questions you want to ask chat or me in
Well, I guess
general?
we should just take questions from Chad because I've seen a lot of stuff, but it's been hard for me to keep track of all of it. So let's open
Yeah.
it up to Chad and see
Yeah.
what people want to know.
Chat. You're gonna ask Oni guy anything. Please just don't ask anything weird, okay? He's a grown man, all right? Give him grown man questions. All right?
Yeah, let's wait for the
What's
AI video of Donald Trump singing enemy is really funny. Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen some of the videos where it was like him and Biden and Obama playing video games together. That's funny. That was good to watch, but it's again potentially concerning. Big booba, a small booba. I prefer big, but like I said, variety is the spice of life. Everything's fun.
Uh-huh.
When did I start animating adult content? I started drawing it maybe in like 2009 and then started animating somewhere around 2000. I want to say 2012, 2011.
Uh, You have a my anime
Smash.
list? Do you have a do you keep up with like do you document your animes at all with like my anime list or no?
No, I there has been talk between me and Bellum about doing like anime reviews because I do watch a lot of it. So yeah, let's see. Somebody asked Muscle Women. To some extent, certain characters. Like I feel like there's been a lot of calls for us to do Armika from Street Fighter, and I feel like yeah, that's one of those characters that does need to be sort of muscular, otherwise it's a disservice to the character. So I
Mhm.
think in that sense, yeah, that's cool. But no, I'm not. I'm not all about. I don't get excited by muscular women. Tend to start Red Moa. Right, inspirations to get it. Oh yeah, okay. I know who Redmo is. The first one I don't recognize. Inspirations to get it. What do you feel you've improved on in terms of animating in the past 3 years? Hmm. The one thing I'm constantly trying to work on is the level of energy. I feel like when I compare my work to some of our contemporaries, it's a little slow and a little too gentle. So yeah, one of the things I'm constantly trying to like drill into myself now is like, no, make it faster, make it harder, make it more energetic. What do you
Someone
think of
asks
the nipple fuck? No, yeah, no, I'm not going there.
so, someone asks, what about feet content? Just asking on behalf of the shy guys here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's a reason why I haven't done that yet. We have had requests for it.
Of
And
course.
one of my things about it is that, yeah, with niche communities like that, the thing is, once you do it, um, then you'll just be bombarded by requests for it. So I'm afraid it's not that I wouldn't do it. I'm just afraid that once I did one sequence, that my inbox would just become flooded with all the feet folks. Like, no, you're gonna do another one. You gotta do another.
Yeah. And then you
I,
segment like the people who don't like feet and the people who
yeah,
like feet, and there's
right.
like a war.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna say never. It may happen, but yeah, there's a reason I've sort of avoided it. What about pegging? Yeah, no, not my thing. I'm not gonna yuck someone's yum, but it's not my thing.
Someone asked, "Do you have a YouTube channel?" I if you
Yes,
don't,
but there's barely anything on it.
yeah,
I will give that link out later. We do have one.
yeah, you should definitely post because I think one of like the most well-known 2D animators, Derpsian. They
Mhm.
have like a safe for work version of like their video. So like it's good to advertise on like other websites or even YouTube especially. So yeah, I'd
Yeah.
definitely recommend doing that as well
Yeah,
for
I've had
sure.
a little bit of fun there because
Or Pixion, yeah.
I'm a big action movie fan, and I action sequences are one of the things that I've always taken a great interest in. So every once in a while, I have made some videos that were more sort of martial arts based. We did one of Kira. So that's what I've been posting more. I haven't done much, just maybe like 2 animations. So if people are interested, yeah, I'll probably drill on that a little bit more.
Okay. Alright. Um,
Anybody else?
so,
Any other questions, chat?
I swear I'm not making this up. Someone says, "Can you animate Hades?" They want, dude, dude.
They want a model of
They
you?
want me. I don't know why. Like I don't get it. I thought it was just be like a blank pocket character people can vicariously live through, but they want to see me apparently. Dude.
um, we could do that with his permission, of course.
Dude.
So I guess
You're actually
we'll
down?
continue.
Are you?
I mean, yeah, yeah. My question: we did one model of a VTuber character who I haven't featured in an animation yet. It's kind of sitting there unfinished,
Oh, this is
which
like
was
it's just in the works,
Lauren.
but you haven't. Have you asked
Yeah, yeah,
permission yet? Like it's just in the works where like
yeah,
you're just
yeah,
waiting
yeah.
for the
No,
go ahead.
no,
Oh, okay.
they were totally down for it, and we're like,
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
okay.
do it. So we did it. But yeah, so I guess I should frame it to you. It's like, if is there a character you would like to interact with?
Oh my god. There's no way. Are you dead serious on this offer? Like you don't have to. Like I know you have like a bunch of projects. And I like
Yeah, but I mean, like,
I'm this is crazy.
this is the very point of what we do, is allowing people to interact with these characters in the fantasy setting. So, I mean, yeah, I can't promise anything, but I'm not saying no.
Oh
So, like,
yeah.
who would you want to interact with if we did this?
I would say I'm not sure. I mean, there's a couple of video
You got
game
a
characters
top
or anime
five
characters.
waifus, I guess. Let's see, top five.
Top five. First one, I would say for sure Nico Robin, but I know it's a little bit more tricky with anime characters, right?
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
Um,
That one's
Juri,
possible.
Juri Han from
Jury,
Street
that one's more
Fighters,
possible. Mhm.
or even Cammy. I think Chun Li is a little bit overdone. There's already too much of it. I just think there's not a lot of representation for Juri. I just feel like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I love Jerry's character. And that's definitely high on the list of possibilities for us. I was always like, I love seeing representation in the fighting games, because there's so many like underutilized sort of like fighting styles and nationalities. So I was happy to see there aren't a lot of like Korean Taekwondo characters. So when they came out with Jerry, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's awesome.
yeah.
Um,
From
But yeah, and
Zelda,
she's definitely like a sadistic kind of
yeah,
interesting character. So she is
she
more
has
on
more
the
flavor
dominant
to
side.
her for sure. That's why I'm
Yeah, yeah.
like, like the other ones are just submissive or whatever, but like she has flavor to her. That's why I like Juri. A
Okay.
character from Zelda, I would say Urbosa. I think there's not enough content for Urbosa because I think not a lot of people are gravitated towards the muscle mommy genre. So I think Urbosa is like probably a dream for me. At least any content just to be made of her. You know what I mean? So yeah, her.
Trying to look up this character.
Yeah, she's like the tall Gerudo with like a long
Okay.
red ponytail.
I know who this character is now.
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't know them by name, but I have seen this character.
yeah.
All right. Interesting.
It's her. I would then probably personal favorite. It's hard because it's like done in that anime art style, so it's like if the model had to be made from the ground up. I would say Tamaki from Persona 5. She's like the goth doctor. Have you ever played Persona or heard of the Persona series?
I know what the series, but no, I have not played it. Let me
Yeah.
look up
Yeah, Tamaki, I
Tamaki.
think. Yeah.
It's like the blue sort of schoolgirl uniform,
No,
or
no,
is
no.
it a
She's a
different
doctor.
version?
She's a doctor. No, whoa, whoa. Not trying to get me in trouble here. Hold up, hold up, hold up. No, no schoolgirls, no schoolgirls.
Oh,
No.
so is this? Yeah, sorry, I'm sort of confused. I tried to Google it and I'm getting multiple
Yeah,
characters.
yeah,
But
I could.
sure,
Oh wait, no.
lead me there.
Wait. Let me see. Let me see.
Tamaki is goaded. Somebody says
Uh,
Hades and schoolgirls.
no, I'm not into schoolgirls. Okay, yeah, just search up
I'm not into. I don't think it's the
Takemi.
schoolgirls. It's
Takemi.
just the outfit. Oh,
Ta-
Takemi. Takemi.
Takemi.
Okay.
Yeah, Takemi. Take then MI. Yeah. Or you just type in like P5 Goth Doctor. That works
Okay.
too.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So like
Nice.
I
Very
mean,
nice.
yeah, I mean like the Goth Doctors, like it's just a combination, you know what I mean? Like the storyline kind of writes itself within the game, you know? Like she
Yeah.
basically makes you take these drugs, she knocks you out and whatnot. Like it's just there's like so many angles you could go at it with.
Yeah. That's certain experiments. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you're down, I'm down. Like I really don't care. Like I put my face on the internet. You know what I mean? I don't really have that much shame. I make degenerate content. You know, it's just it's fun. This is like a fun medium, fun industry, fun craft to do. You know what I mean? It's just I just like it. It's just fun. So I don't. It's kind of weird. My audience is asking for it, but like I don't know to be featured in a video by one of my favorite like animators is just it'll be a
Well,
blessing. It'll be sick.
yeah. At the very least, I mean, maybe we can just have a cameo.
Yeah, I'm down. I
All
just
right.
show up in the background or something. I don't mind anything. That'll be great.
All right. Well, we'll see what we can do.
All right, all right. Chat. Any more questions? We can end off here, chat. Any more questions? Last questions.
What was my
Oh,
R34 gold?
yeah, that's a great question. Who you look
You
up to?
guys, you guys got to remember, I kind of hate the website in general because it's full of people pirating my work. But
Oh yeah.
um, I don't know. Of my contemporaries, I'd say Desire SFM does some really cool stuff. Obviously, there's another one that I can't remember the name of. They also do what seems like they have larger projects and big stories that they want to tell.
hmm
I think they, and again, I can't remember the name of that individual. That'll drive me crazy. But yeah, Desire SFM has some cool stuff, so I'd have to say that's close. There used to be more guys. Goof Dozer is also pretty good. Blah blah blah. Pickle. Oh, I was just reading random comments now.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions, chat. I don't think they have anything else to
All
ask.
right,
So
awesome.
go ahead and shout out your stuff, man.
All right, everybody. So I have been the animator Onagi. We make some not safe for work content. Our Patreon page is. Let me throw a link in the chat if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
Is right here.
Yeah,
You can find my
DFAC.
Twitter right
We
here.
already talked about LilyCons. Like we already talked about that, chat. He's a
Yeah, are we getting more questions about?
no. It's just the same old stuff. Same old stuff.
I posted a link and banned him. Did I do something I wasn't supposed to do?
No, you're fine. Yeah, guys, follow Nagi on Twitter. He posts like quick snippets of what he does and what he posts and like stuff that are like in the works. You guys want to support him? Get a full catalog, 100 videos of great not safe for work content. Sign up for his Patreon. Is like a low dollar, but like $1, $1 American USD. So yeah, go and sign up for that if you guys have the opportunity to support him, or if you want to check out his content that way. Yeah, but yeah, Onagi, I appreciate you coming on.
No
It was great talking to you. I love your work, and I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing your time with me and your knowledge. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank
you so
you. It's
much.
been a lot of fun. I'm happy to talk to everybody, and sorry if I've been sort of a rambling guest.
Oh, you're good. Like this is about you. Like they're trying to hear what you say. You know, they hear me yapping all day. So I was like, this is about you. So don't worry about it. All right. I appreciate it, Nagi. You take it easy, man.
Actually, somebody caught it. The artist
Oh,
you're thinking of is P Deadbeats. Yes, that is who I'm thinking of. They have some pretty cool content. I think they're a lot like me. They're trying to tell like a larger story, and I appreciate that. All right. We'll get out of your way. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to our wild ideas, and have a good day.
yeah, you too. Peace. All right, chat. That is it. Wowee. What a conversation, eh? With a real R34 animator. Wow. Holy. The ski just clocked in? Oh, hell nah. We need this dude fired. Oh no. Oh, also YouTube chat. I know I've been leaving you guys high and dry. But that's it for YouTube stream. You guys want to check out Twitch, and we're still gonna be streaming probably like 12 more hours. I can't lie. All right. You guys can click in the link in the description below. Twitch.tv/takenhades to enjoy the stream more. But I think this is it for the content segment. All right. I missed the guy already. No, he was cool. He was cool. He was extremely chill, bro. Well spoken, chill, very well knowledgeable. You know what I mean? But yeah, YouTube stream. That doobie is it. All right, you guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys on the Twitch side. All right. Peace. Peace. All right. All right.